Where's my email? Oh, that says that's the wrong code. Oh, that says that's the wrong code. Oh, great. Dang, Kyle, I sold all my lawnmowers.
You did you?
Mm-hmm. This last week was like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Even the expensive ones just. So it wasn't Mayor Rocks exclamation.
So is there a,
There's
City
city,
Hall one?
city of mayor, city council, city guests, city staff.
I'm on city council.
try that one more time, and then do Mayor Rock's exclamation.
On city council?
Yeah. I might have gotten it from this.
Bingo.
Did it work? Good.
All right, it's 6:30. You ready? All right, it's 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any changes to the agenda?
The only change I'm requesting is to move the 2021 street project up above liquor license reimbursement. I also apologize, the numbering somehow got really off, so, but yeah, so we'll make that A1.
Okay. We do have one council member remote, so we will do voting by name. So is there a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
I'll make that motion.
Anybody want?
Second.
Okay. Millander seconds. All in favor, Millander?
Aye.
Helt?
Aye.
McNeely, aye. Approved, 3-0. All right, is there anybody here for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Consent agenda. Anyone want to make a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make
So
that-
moved.
Okay, Larry, any seconds?
I'll second.
Helt? All right, all in favor say, I have to, Millander,
Aye.
Helt,
Aye.
and McNeely is an aye. Passes 3-0. All right, now we're up to 6A1, 2021 street project update.
Okay, so council, tonight, we have Jeff, I'm gonna say your name wrong, from Bolton and Mink. And we're just, as we start getting ready for, the 2021 street project, I just wanted to put an update, kind of where we're at on tonight's meeting. And so, I did include a little bit of a memo, regarding where we're currently at, where we have the plans completely, the final plans completely done, and that is in your packet this evening. And then our current timeline is that we will be, we have put it out for bid, and we will be opening bids on March 17th to see where those come in at. Jeff, do you want to provide any more information, kind of how you see things are going right now, as far as the project is progressing?
Yeah, I could. Dave put together a little PowerPoint, so I'm going to try to share my screen and run through that real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna let you be host, and then you're gonna have to give it back to me later. All right, let me know if that worked, Jeff. You're gonna have to go up on top or on the bottom. There's a green share button to share your screen.
Okay.
So you'll have to click on that.
Okay. There we go.
Oops.
Can you guys see anything? Can you see our PowerPoint?
I cannot. Let me just see something.
Well, it's
Maybe I
not
can
that.
see it.
You can see it?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, perfect.
got
I
it.
think I just accidentally logged out. So I will get back in, and Jeff, you can start going.
Okay, so yeah, just a quick overview of the project and then give you an opportunity if you want to ask any questions. But again, the project consists of reconstructing 3rd Street and 5th Street. The slide here on the screen is just the street grades. I just put this in here because I wanted to point out we're working on getting a watershed district permit. They're most likely going to require us to put a small rain garden in the project area. So we're looking at this area just north of 5th and west of 25th, or Highway 25. So we'll work through that with the watershed and we'll get the permit, but that's a possibility that they'll require us to put a small rain garden in there. And then as we go up 5th, there'll be a low area right in this area around Ridge Road. So we will be extending storm sewer up from 25 up to that low area. That's something a little new that you guys haven't seen before. Let's see, what else do we have in here? And then on 3rd, we did add that parking by the park. And that was a layout we had done a couple years ago. So we just add that parking in there with the sidewalk.
And how many spots is that?
That is, I think it's 10 regular and a handicap. My screen's pretty small for me to read, but I believe it's 10 and a handicap. And then, yeah, so as Maggie mentioned, the project's out for bids right now. The plan's to open bids on March 17th with hopefully an award on March 22nd. Construction this summer, and then the final assessment hearing this fall. So we have had some projects out for bid. We've been getting good bids. Don't remember the number you had in your feasibility study, but I did revise the cost estimate down to around 1.1 million. And if bids keep coming in the way they are, hopefully we should come in lower than that. So I can answer any questions.
I don't have any, but that's good news if bids are
Yeah,
coming
that's
in
awesome.
under, so hopefully ours will too.
Yeah, so we've only bid paving projects. So all the paving projects are coming in low. Your project does have a little bit of pipe work. We'll have to see how that comes in, but yeah, the paving projects have been coming in great. Really good news.
Good to hear.
All right, I don't have anything else.
Not really, no.
Nope.
Can't do much until the bids come back.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just continue to put stuff up on the city website. We have notified residents through several, or a couple letters that, that site area will be updated regularly so that they can stay up to date on the project. And then we also have our contact information as well. We'll probably send out another letter as well, just letting them know that this is the date that the bids will be looked at and that they're welcome to attend that meeting as well, just to see where they come in at. So, yeah, so that's, we just wanted to provide you kind of with a little update of where we're at in the timeline, so.
All right. Are you gonna get a host back?
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Yeah, so I did click stop sharing, and now my screen is black, and it
It's
says your
okay.
name.
It's okay. I just have to do one thing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for bumping us up in the agenda. Really, we really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll just wait till
I'll-
you're.
So Jeff, you don't have control anymore?
Jeff, do you have control of the Zoom meeting?
I don't believe I do. I clicked stop sharing, so
We have to find something about host, like transfer host.
Yeah, if you click on Margaret McCallum, it's,
yeah, I clicked that button to end hosting.
yeah, if you do more, I think you have to retransfer it over to me. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, can you hear? Yeah, you're
I
supposed
can't
to.
hear.
Yeah, if you click more, she said, it should say transfer and then pick a person to transfer it to.
So I don't see a more. At the bottom, Maggie, I have security, participants, chat, share screen, record, breakout rooms, and reactions.
Okay. Yeah, Jeff, it still says you're host. So, yeah,
Alright,
so if you highlight one of my names,
Highlight one of her names.
Under participants,
Yes.
okay. Oh, and then more, okay.
and then it'll say
Yep.
transfer host.
I just got it. There
Okay.
we go.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You got it?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Glad somebody knows something about this stuff.
Yeah, you think the engineer would, but. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
You too, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Nope. I'll wait till you get your screen up and then I'll.
All right.
All right, moving on
Can everybody
to
see this now, hopefully?
Yep.
Okay.
6A2, liquor license reimbursement.
Yep. I'm just gonna scroll down quick. So this item tonight is for council to consider liquor license reimbursement to the establishments that currently have on sale liquor licenses. So we did do this because of the pandemic. We did do it last year as well. Some of these establishments have, per the executive order from the state of Minnesota, they've had to shut their doors, and so they haven't been able to use their liquor licenses to sell any liquor, obviously. And so we just, we had some establishments ask if we would consider this again. As you know, in November of 2020, the governor announced that there would be closing again for these establishments between November 21st and December 18th. That was then extended in December to January 10th, 2021. So as you know, we do charge I did a breakdown of the charges. We currently charge $1,800, but we also do $200 for the Sunday fee, so it's $2,000. Off sale is $100. We kind of made an assumption for 2 establishments that have food, because they can still, if they're selling food, they can still sell off sale. But there was one establishment that doesn't have that, so they had to close completely. And so I based the fees off of that, or the potential reimbursement. So 2 of them would get, so the total closure was 53 days. 2 of them, if we did reimburse them for the 53 days, would be $290. And then the other one would be $304.50. So that would be a total of $884.50. So if council does find that they would like to do this reimbursement, then you would just consider passing resolution 3.8.21.07. If you have any questions, just let me know. Again, this is something we did last year just to kind of help businesses out during this time. So with that, I will let council discuss and let me know if you have any questions.
All right, do I have a motion for the liquor license reimbursement resolution 3.8.21.07?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
Hal? And then Larry's second. All right, any discussion?
I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
I think it's
Yeah.
fair.
All right. We'll do roll call. Larry,
Aye.
Chad,
Aye.
and Nikki is an aye. Motion passes 3-0. All right, moving on to 6A3, reopening of community center.
All right, council, staff is asking council to discuss when and how to reopen the community center. So for a while now, we have had City Hall back open to the public. As you know, last year, we were kind of off and on, opening and closing City Hall. Community Center has remained closed for quite some time. And so with that, the council has taken steps to adopt and amend their own preparedness plan. So we have been doing additional cleaning. We have been taking precautions as far as making sure exposure is limited. Social distancing is still going on. At this time, the governor has announced measures that would loosen restrictions, and that was actually in mid-February. Since then, I haven't, since the packets come out, there hasn't been any new loosening of restrictions. So with the new guidance, I put together some recommendations to kind of open up our community center up again, still maintaining social distancing and wearing masks, but also following the executive orders. And then also when things change, just kind of evolving with new executive orders as well. So right now the community center, it has a capacity of 350. So the state in some instances recommend that you stay within 25%. So that's 87 people. And that's for large gatherings. And then if you are serving food, it would be 50. And so at this time, I'm recommending allowing youth sports in the community center, still at the 25%, social distancing and masks, allowing those birthday parties and showers to schedule as well. Still 50 people with food being served, 87 if food is not served, social distancing and masks. And then allow community ed to do some classes, again, 87 people, social distancing and masks. And then if anyone wants to do a large party or reception, still following those same standards. So staff will inform the scheduled events that they must follow the state guidelines at all times. Refunds would be issued if the event is canceled to COVID-19, and then also social distancing and masks would be required as well. And with that, as I mentioned before, as executive orders change, we'll also keep the council updated and continue to make sure we're being consistent. I also attached the latest loosening of the restrictions from the state, and so with that, any questions or updates, any questions from the council, I'd be more than willing to talk through, and then just council's direction as far as opening the community center.
So Maggie, this is Millender.
Yep.
If we pass this, what do you think? What do you think would be the opening date then?
I would say we can do it as soon as possible. So we can start letting people in based on availability after tonight's meeting. So
Okay.
If council agrees.
Yeah, if we're following the guidelines, I don't see an issue reopening.
And then what about, if things change, does it have to come back to council for a vote to change the guidelines, or can we request that you just follow state guidelines like you did here, so if things loosen up?
Yeah, I would say just maybe with the community center, you can make a motion to allow us to follow state executive orders. If it ever comes to City Hall shutting down, I would bring that back to you guys.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right, do we have a motion for reopening of the community center?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Did we have to add in that?
I think if you want to add in to allow,
I'll make the motion to allow the community center to reopen and for Maggie to follow the state guidelines at her not at her discretion.
like if the state changes requirements, she can adjust accordingly.
Yeah, if the
Like
state,
in alignment with the state, okay.
Larry, do you also continue to second that?
I do. I'll second that.
All right, we'll vote by roll call. Larry?
Aye.
Chad?
I,
Nikki is an aye. Motion approved, 3-0. All right, we'll move on to city council reports. Larry?
Well, I finally met with Community Ed, and it was a great meeting. They're gearing up for their marketing. They're going back to the catalog format versus the postcard. They're pretty excited about that. So I don't know if it's been out yet or not, but I think the residents will be receiving that shortly. They're always looking for ideas for new classes. The instructors are coming back slowly but surely as COVID starts to loosen up and more people are getting vaccinated. Their early childhood is filling up. They're looking for staff part-time and full-time. So if you know of anybody that is interested, they ask for you to spread the word and send them their way. But they're basically gearing up for the summer for their youth and adult enrichment, and excited to get back to what they do best without a ton of restrictions. So it was fun. It's a good meeting and interesting to meet all the people on the committee.
Awesome. How about you,
Good to hear.
Chad?
Park board meetings tomorrow. Finished up League of Minnesota training. That was pretty interesting and fun, a lot of information to process, but it was definitely worth taking.
Good. And I don't have anything to report. All right. And we're moving on to adjournment. Would you like to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All right. Chad seconded. All in favor, Larry,
Aye.
Chad,
Aye.
and Nikki is an aye. We're adjourned. All right, we'll move to our workshop. I think you're up, Kyle.
All right. Well, perfect. So yeah, identified in the Public Works 2021 CIP and part of our long-term feasibility plan, we have identified a wheel loader purchase for 2021. And I'm just going to give a quick PowerPoint on why we need one or why we would like one, how we're going to pay for it, the uses we'll see out of it, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to dive right in. So first slide, why do we need one? So this loader is a heavy piece of equipment that will make current public works tasks much more efficient. Will allow one public works employee to do a greater amount of work than what they would able to do with just the skid loader. The skid loader currently is all we have right now to load the dump truck, and it does a fine job, but nowhere near the production that this heavy piece of equipment would do. We have been demoing a couple of these payloaders just to get a feel for them, couple brands, couple different sizes that other cities have. And yeah, what we've been able to do with them just while demoing has been pretty remarkable. It'd take weeks to do with the skid loader versus a couple hours with a heavy payloader. So the main uses for the payloader are going to be snow removal. Downtown cul-de-sacs, parking lots, mainly for snow removal is downtown. We clear all the snow off of downtown, the sidewalks, and Highway 25 itself. Got to push that snow very long distances, and this piece of equipment would let us do that in a very efficient manner. Compost site maintenance, this is probably what it's going to be used for year-round every week. Currently, our compost site, we push up piles, and that's kind of all we do. I'll dive in a little bit more on that. But with this machine, we'll be able to achieve actually produce some compost versus just weeds and piles. So this piece of equipment will also be used for loading and hauling, other miscellaneous tasks, and I kind of describe it as the last piece of the puzzle for our Public Works Department until we get much bigger. So snow removal. Loader will be outfitted with the snow plow and snow pusher attachment, kind of all in one. You see the picture there up at the right, and the different varieties of plows that we can, or positions we could put it in. And I know what you're saying, really, Kyle, another plow. We got plows on both our 1-tons, our dump truck, and the skid loader, and Toolcat both kind of share a plow, and the Toolcat kind of has its own little special plow for removing the snow from downtown. Currently, we are set up to remove snow downtown without this payloader. When we get this payloader, if we start using it and realize we do not touch other pieces of equipment, that is when we will start getting rid of pieces of equipment. We will use all of our equipment given, depending on the snowfall, really. If we were to purchase this payloader, it would go out along with the dump truck. 2 guys would be knocking everything out, and then once whichever person's done first, they would then hop in the next piece of equipment to finish up the alleyways, the parking lots, the trails, and cul-de-sacs if they're not done yet, or roads if they're not done yet. So depending on what task needs to be completed next is depending on what piece of equipment will get used. So this attachment will push snow long distances. Surrounding cities are operating their loaders the same way, and it will drastically cut down on the amount of time it currently takes to remove snow. It's currently our longest process, but it's kind of due to the piece of equipment that's currently being used. It is a fast, efficient way to do cul-de-sacs. Other cities have done this as well. And with the big 3-yard bucket, loading out downtown and cul-de-sacs is going to be much better. And Safety wise too, you get up in it, it's like a fishbowl. You can see everything, you're up high, people see you, you see them. Great visibility. And I think visibility was actually spelled wrong, so I apologize for that. Snow removal, so these are other cities. Top picture there, that is Watertown and what they just purchased. They got a big metal plus on the front of theirs, and the bottom two pictures, that is the city of Belle Plaine. They run two 544 John Deeres with the same type of plow setups that we are getting quotes on as well. They have a smaller one and a bigger one, so it's nice to go there and compare and kind of get a feel for that. We were leaning towards the big one, or we wanted the big one originally, but now the small one has better visibility. It's a little cheaper, and I think it'll suit our needs just fine. So the compost site, this is kind of the main task that this loader is going to be doing. Current piece of, with the correct piece of equipment, the city could start producing a higher quality compost. We could push up the pile much easier. This is actually the picture. There's a demo we had of a 621. I'm in there pushing up the pile of a before and after picture on the next slide, or in a couple slides. But what we can push and move with this piece of equipment is absolutely remarkable. We're going to start doing turned windrow composting is actually the correct term. I'm not going to describe it a whole lot, but if you're really bored and you want to look at something really fun, go look at turned windrow composting. Pretty much you make a nice long windrow of the grass and leaves that we take in, kind of mix it all together, and it just, you get a pile and it starts cooking and decomposing in the middle. And you just kind of keep flipping it, and don't let it, any weeds or anything germinate on it. And within a few weeks, you have pretty good compost that we can then use in our parks for park projects, or give away to residents as well. In the past, our compost site was operated by a contractor. Kind of a long story with that, but Public Works started operating the compost back in 2014. And when I say operate, we push up piles and kind of move piles around and let it decompose. So here's a nice little scientific graphic of the raw material coming in, the water and heat and everything kind of getting cooked in the middle. Then you turn it, and towards the end, you have a nice compost. There's a demo loader that we tried out, and we were pushing up the pile out of our current compost
What do
site.
you use now to do what you are kind of doing with the compost?
We're using the skid loader right now. And the skid loader, when it comes to payloaders, you go with the weight, the horsepower, and the breakout force that a payloader has. And it's about 5 times more than what a skid loader has. So
Like, how long would it take you to turn these piles with the skid loader?
this pile that I pushed up and everything, what I did with it, it would take me a day to do with the skid loader.
And how long did it take you with this?
Maybe 30 minutes.
So it's definitely more efficient, and you would be able to actually start using the compost site and actually using it and generating stuff to benefit not only the city projects, but residents.
Correct. And we'll actually be able to run our compost site versus, because right now we just take in material. We do get the brush pile chipped out every so often, once it gets kind of too big, or it kind of takes up too much land space and everything. But right now we kind of get all these leaves, grass, pumpkins, yard waste, and we push it into a pile, and it kind of gets pushed to the back, and it stays in the pile. And that's, we don't really remove or use it all too often. We have been using some of it in our parks the last couple of years, but it's definitely weedy, and it's definitely not the best.
And you guys have the manpower to do this if you had something that was more efficient?
Right.
Or if you just had the skid loader, you wouldn't be able to provide?
We just had the skid loader. I don't think with just with the manpower alone, we wouldn't have time to do the same type of work as we would if we had the payloader. With the with the payloader, what the time it takes us to go out there every week or every other week to push up piles and everything with the skid loader, we'd be able to do. We could turn the pile, we could push up piles, we could do just a drastic amount of more work with this machine than we could with the skid loader. So, and kind of the proof of the pudding is the next slide. It's kind of tough to tell on the slide, but that was a before picture of the pile pushed up with the skid loader.
Considerably.
And then we pushed it up with the payloader, and that probably took 20 minutes to push all that up with the payloader, and it's a good, I'd say 50 to 80 feet back and about 8 feet higher than what it was before. So it's definitely the machine for the job.
Kyle, is that the smaller payloader or the bigger one?
For that one, that was the bigger one, and there's definitely quite the difference between the big one and the small one. The one that we use to push up the pile is actually the same size that most cities have, besides Waconia. Waconia has a bigger one, but that's the comparable size that all cities recommend, is the one that we use to push up the pile there. It's not too big and it's not too small.
So that's the one you would want.
That is the one we are looking at. So on the next photo there, that is the smaller one loading the dump truck. It's a very nice machine, don't get me wrong. It can do the same, a good amount of work, but if we're definitely, the case or the bigger machine was, a good 30 horsepower more and has a little bit more breakout force and stuff. You can definitely tell when you're running them.
So when you would load like salt into the back of the truck and when we weren't, loading or trying those out, use the skid loader, is that harder to do with the skid loader?
With the skid loader, it's the skid loader can only lift so much. So depending on the size bucket that you use and depending on what material you're loading, salt isn't terribly heavy, but when it comes to like class 5 gravel or blacktop or something like that, then you got to definitely use the smaller. I'm not even sure what yard it is, but it's just our standard, 72-inch bucket, and it takes. I think I counted. I was hauling reclaim, and it took 12 or 15 buckets to load the dump truck. So
It's reclaim, sorry.
what's reclaim? It's just millings. From when we did the milling work over in Coldwater, we got the big pile. We got 800 tons of it out at the wastewater plant. So we got a big pile of reclaim that we hauled this fall. I hauled to the Red Barn road out there by Fieldstone for our lift station, and I built it up a good 3-4 inches. So did quite a bit of hauling with it, and yeah, it took quite a while to load. You can definitely load a dump truck with the skid loader. We've been doing it. But when you're loading the dump truck with the payloader, you're up higher. As you can see in the photo, actually, I'm at the same level as the dump truck. So I see how much material is in that dump truck and exactly where it's going. So I could see over it, I could see around it. It's just, from a
Better
safety
visibility.
standpoint, loading the truck is way better. Yep. I spelled visibility wrong down there again, I'm sorry. But, so yeah, I'll just I think we kind of touched base on it, just that brief conversation that we had. But yeah, you can definitely load trucks much more efficiently. And even, when I talk about breakout force, when we dig in the piles, when you take that payloader and you dig into the base of the pile, I don't, if anybody's familiar about running a skid loader or anything, but when you, say you're a class 5 rock and you dive into the base of it, it takes a few back and forth trying to get that bucket full. That's a smaller bucket. With a payloader, you just kind of drive right into it, you scoop it, you curl the bucket, and you got 3 yards of material in it, depending. Some material, if it's rock hard, that it might take a couple tries, but it's definitely way more bang for the buck when it comes to using the payloader. So yeah, it's kind of, so you can, the loader with rock, blacktop, salt, sand, sweepings, all the different types of materials that we haul. Definitely much faster.
So another thing we would use, that would be another reason why we would use it year-round.
Right. And another, kind of just on a past project when we helped kind of clean up the creamy site over here, we did haul some, we had some clay and stuff from some water main breaks, knock on wood, and some compost that we kind of regraded the whole ditch and everything over there. And so we had to have the skid loader out, at the compost site loading the dump truck when we could have. Then we kind of had to, we did what we could kind of with the toolkit to level the piles where we were dumping them. But it would have been nice just to have the payloader out there loading the truck. Would have done it much more efficiently and much more faster. You can leave the payloader out there, transport the material over here, and then one guy could be leveling it with the skid loader. So that's just kind of one example that really popped in my head when we definitely could have used one. And it's
Overall, a time savings.
a huge time saver, yeah.
With just 2 public works employees, you don't have to then, to drive something
Right.
over.
Yep.
Well, what may take a day will now take half the time.
Yeah, it'd take a fraction of the time it takes now. So yeah, have the loader in one position, skid loader in another good position, kind of tag teaming it and kind of getting it done. And then even just to save time, and I mean, the 3-yard bucket itself, sometimes we gotta run some class 5 over here, or we gotta run some dirt over here to the park, you know. Just being able to hop in, I mean, then it takes, in order to do that, you gotta drive the machine to where you need to be. If you gotta be at the compost site, wastewater plant, or our public works building, so you gotta have the skid loader over there, then you gotta load the truck. Whereas with the payloader, we could just take that payloader, hey, we need some compost over here at the park in Westridge or Discovery. All right, I'll hop in the payloader, go drive out to the compost site, take a scoop of black dirt, and run out to the Discovery Park. And it takes one man, one machine, and not, you know, multiple machines and transporting and tying down, that sort of thing. And so, if I haven't touched it, visibility.
So Kyle, this one in the picture that is loading the dump truck,
Yep.
is that in the closer to the 185, or is that still in the 200,000?
That one's actually the numbers are coming in. It shouldn't be more than 180,000. So I'm not actually sure that is a smaller one. They were letting us try that one out just to get a feel for the cab. The one we were proposing is a little bit bigger than that one, but yeah, they're coming right in around that 170, 180 mark.
Okay.
That's fully outfitted?
Yep, that's outfitted. That one had a couple features that it didn't have a couple features that we're proposing.
Does that include like the attachments?
Yep, that's with the plow, that's with some
Plow.
payloader forks and the bucket.
Okay,
That's everything.
180,000.
Yep.
I mean, we're gonna get,
This is just kind of to break the ice, kind of propose it, and then probably at the next council meeting, if it works out, is when we will present numbers and present the machine itself.
So
So,
Kyle, does John Deere still have a lease program available to the cities?
yes, that is something I was, we can talk about it now. But that is an option for John Deere and Case, actually. So we could actually lease this machine, but it would be on an interest. We would pay like an interest on it.
Okay.
So it'd be pretty much a lease to buy is kind of what the program is.
They used to have one. I don't know if it's still available, but I don't know how it worked, but you could, and this was a tractor, but it was like $25 a month. And I don't know how they did it, but oh my man.
Yeah. A lot of it used to be probably 5. They used to do like really good deals on lawnmowers and stuff. And then I heard the same thing about payloaders. We can rent payloaders and everything all day long for like, I think it was $3 or $4 grand a month. I think is what the one proposal was. But then by the time you're better off, I'll kind of touch base on this a little bit more when we talk trade-in and rotation and that. But
Okay.
they kind of went away from that because I know dealers and everything kind of went away from that because they all of a sudden had this like I'll just use lawnmowers for example, but they had this surplus of used lawnmowers that were they only had a few hundred hours on it, but they were just as expensive as a brand new lawnmower. So when they have customers coming in to purchase these, they're like, well, I might as well buy the brand new one. It has the warranty and everything on it. So
Right.
I'll just stick with that. But there is so the lease options that we did look into for Case and John Deere are, there's the 2-year, the 3-year, the 4-year, kind of how long we want it. I mean, it's pretty much just a 3-year repayment plan is kind of what it is. So
Okay. And you would be able to store this where at then?
it would be at our Public Works building. We did manage to get everything in our little Public Works building. We do have the old Public Works building where it'd probably be stored in the summer months. And then there was talk, I'm not sure, it's been a broader discussion, but the old fire station as well is an option, unless we move on from it or not. So, but yeah, even if we sell the old fire station, we'd have to keep our old Public Works building, but we'd be able to store it in there.
Yeah, it's kind of something that we've been talking about and will continue to talk about, kind of the restructuring of, the new fire station coming, the old fire station, kind of plans in the park. And so it's just kind of right now we have space for it. We're just trying to reshift a few things too, and we're not there yet, but we're gonna get there. So
Correct. Yeah, we'll have to do some equipment around, but we have room to keep it inside, so. All right, so I'll dive, miscellaneous tasks. I know, City of Montrose, City of Watertown, Belle Plaine, they, actually with the pallet forks, they, purchased a man lift, kind of cage system, OSHA certified, of course. They use it, to decorate downtown for their street lights and this and that, and then, trimming trees and, changing out light bulbs and street lights, that sort of thing. And it's a very handy and safe way to do that. Miscellaneous park, road, and stormwater projects. Big thing we could probably use this machine for is our cleaning out inlets and outlets for our stormwater ponds. That's a big project that we got lined up for this year. Past projects that we could have used it for, just off the top of our head, is just installing our ice skating rink lights. That was one thing, and if we had a set of pallet forks, we could have, chained them to that and lifted it straight up. It would have been tall enough, safe enough. Instead, we had to rent a machine to do that kind of stuff. Some street projects, even just as simple as we got to replace some posts and some stop signs and everything, so we could actually take this machine out. Instead of standing on a ladder with the postal smacker, we can actually, just stand this up, level it up, and just kind of sink that post right into the ground without having to get on a ladder and move an anvil around. So just little things like that. Of course, emergency response, got to throw that in. Snow removal technically is emergency response. So water main breaks, if we had a water main break, I'd knock on wood again. I'm talking about it too many times. Just helping the contractor to dig out the old material, then just we keep gravel and everything on hand, so we can actually just run back and forth with this machine a couple times to fill the hole. And it saves some money there. Clear roads of debris after severe weather, got a twister that comes through town, especially in the old part of town, we got a lot of mature trees. This would definitely be definitely an asset to have. With flooding events, it hasn't happened in a while, thank goodness, but sandbagging, moving pumps into place, et cetera, this machine will be very handy. Price, how we paid for it, we kind of touched base on that a little bit already. Capital improvement plan, it's been a part of the plan for the last, quite a few years since I've been here. We kind of kept pushing off, just hasn't been the time to do it. We were hoping to get a year of snow plowing, or a couple of years of snow plowing under our belt before we did make this purchase, but time is just kind of lined up with everything on rotation of equipment and everything to push for this this year. So, the price of the equipment, like I said, I did it when I did the PowerPoint. It was still a little unsure, but there was a couple more expensive machines that were closer to 200,000, but the ones that we're going to be proposing are right around that 180 or less currently, and that's for everything. With the state, kind of why we're proposing new versus used is that state bid that the city gets is between a 30% and 41% discount, which is huge. We get a brand new machine, we get 3 years warranty, we get maintenance for 3 years. We'll have very little expense. Well, I can honestly say we'll have no expense besides the fuel we put in it and the grease we use for the first 3 years of having the machine. So currently we have $75,000 budgeted for this year. The remaining is proposed to take out of the 435 fund, which Megan can talk a little bit more on that if she needs to. And but it is an option if the city wants to. We could also finance this piece of equipment. We could put a hefty down payment on it and then pay it off either next year or within a couple years. But we would have a interest rate with that as well, which I think for John Deere, I think the interest rate was 2 something. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I can have those numbers for everybody at the next council meeting. So yeah, city will have this piece of equipment. I was proposing to probably be a piece of equipment the city has for 20 years, but after talking with other cities, they are getting really good trade-in values on this if it has very, low hours. And when I say lower hours, less than 1,000 or, less than 2,000. Contractors and they love city equipment because they know it's taken care of. And so I think Belle Plaine, they have 2 loaders, so they rotate them every 5 years, and they pay only a few $1,000s more to trade it off don't have to deal with maintenance headaches or anything like that, and then they get a fresh machine. So kind of something we'll definitely keep looking at as we use the machine and everything if we do purchase it. So keep that in mind. And then Highway 25 reimbursement and compost. We do get some money from I think our neighboring city to dump compost, so we can use. I think it's only $2,000 if that. And then Highway 25 reimbursement for loading the snow off of Highway 25. We can propose our bid and see if it gets accepted, but it's an hourly rate, and that money could also be used to help fund the machine as well. So
The compost site too, we also get a grant, compost site grant from the county each year, so we can use this as kind of a, so many hours used, like we can get
Right.
some of that reimbursed as well through that.
oh, that'd be really good. So, but yeah, I think that's all that's all 10 slides. So I can take any questions, comments, concerns. What else you might want to see? Anything I didn't answer that you want answered? I'm all ears. I'm ready to.
Yeah, I'm ready for it to come back, but like just I would like to see all the different options for how we would pay for it, if we were gonna pay cash,
Yeah,
and what the 435 fund balances, and, what we take from it. What's an estimate that we could get maybe for I know Highway 25 reimbursement it's a guess on how much snow we get, but like, I don't know if we kind of have an idea of what Widmer's.
Right now, Widmer's is charging the state $180 an hour to use their machine to load. And it's just the loading portion of the snow. So we pile it and everything, that is our cost. But once we have the piles made, the machine we use to load the truck, we don't get reimbursed for the truck, but we get reimbursed for the machine that we use to load it. So whether it's our skid loader we're using or the payloader we're using, we get reimbursed.
We'd want to use the skid loader, right? Takes more time, more money, right?
We just, yeah, pretty much.
That takes more,
Also more of our time, but.
Fuel, time, hours, yeah.
one thing I'll say too is, I'm glad we brought this to this workshop and then bringing it back to the city council with more information. We finally are closing our audit, and so with that, our numbers, I was kind of waiting to see where our numbers were gonna end up with the 2020 audit, and then with us having then the ability to transfer some of, like, if we have excess cash into different capital funds, and so I should have that information ready for the next meeting. Kind of
yeah,
where those
as much
fund
as you
balances
can
are.
for me personally, I'd like to see,
More
You know.
brass tacks.
yeah, and how are we gonna pay for it, and then, kind of the bids.
Yeah.
Yep, and we
Yep.
have a bunch of that information.
Do they have machines, like, if we gave the approval, like, you can get it before the summer?
Yeah,
Or
and that's.
it's not like the truck where it took
No,
like a year
I
to
know, that
build?
was my biggest worry. I know Caterpillar, I mean, it's a very nice machine, but it's very high up there, so they would have had it here within a week or two because they got them on hand. If we were to get it from Case or John Deere, depending on which one kind of pans out, it'd be, I think, 30 to 60 days. So that's kind of why I'm proposing it now in February or March here, just so we have it for the summer, or at least towards the end of summer, just so we can use it at the compost site and other miscellaneous tasks that we got going on.
Is there an end to the discount? Is there a timeline?
No, nope, this is state bid, so this is all year.
Okay,
So until they put new bids in, and that's not until November, I think, or
Okay.
December. So,
well, that's good.
yep. Yeah, this is for all our equipment. We get state bid pricing, trucks, dump trucks, lawnmowers, all of it. So it's a very nice tool to have, actually. So.
Kyle, this is Millender. I gotta put you on the spot here.
Uh-oh,
Uh-oh.
let me have it.
So though this is you got to think outside the box with me. This is Kyle's independent contracting for the city of Mare.
All right.
Now, you just spent $218,000 on your truck, the dump truck.
Yep.
You just spent $7,400 on a new plow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you spent what, $1,700 for a bucket for the tool cat. And you just bought the tool cat and some other new stuff. Now you just spent this out of your own pocket.
Right.
So tell me now, honestly, the payloader, I call it a payloader, the loader,
Yep.
is it a want or a need?
It is a
And
need.
tell me why, besides the things that you put on the PowerPoint,
Yep.
tell me why if it's a want or a need.
I believe it's a need just based on efficiency. So efficient, just even having our dump truck, for example. So plowing with that dump truck this year for the first time in 7 years, I felt like Mayor has had the right piece of equipment to do the job. We've been plowing, you can plow all day long with a skid loader, you can plow all day long with a 1-ton. But until you get into a 350 horsepower Mack dump truck with a 9-foot wing, a belly blade, brine tanks, a 12-foot blade, you can move some snow in a quick, efficient manner. And kind of different from a contractor standpoint versus a emergency response standpoint. So a contractor is there in it to make money. So if I was a contractor, if I had a piece of equipment it was paid for and I'm getting an hourly rate of $180 an hour, if it takes me 6 hours to plow or 8 hours to plow downtown, and no one's squawking or saying boo, then it's like, okay, I'll keep doing it if I have the guy making $20 an hour running the skid loader, because then you're making a good profit. Well, I'm not in it to make a profit. I'm in it for safety and efficiency. So if we can have everything in this city plowed within 4 to 6 hours, given a 6-inch snowfall or 8-inch snowfall, then I'd say we're doing a good job. So it's, I get it. I get, we've been building the Public Works Department for pretty aggressively the last couple years. That's why I was a little lenient on even proposing it. But with this piece of equipment and the manpower that we currently have, I think it would be very beneficial to have the payloader and the dump truck. Just having
So back and thinking outside the box, you would say, yeah, to increase my efficiency, I would open my checkbook.
absolutely.
And
Yep. I'm a taxpayer too, so I'm all for it. So.
I hear you. And Chad would attest that's in his learning of the elected leaders. That's one thing. Like we need to tell the everybody when you raise taxes or you get assessed.
Right.
We're all part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's people have told me other city your employees are only as good as the equipment you give them. So it's with 2 guys and these 2 pieces of equipment, I think we'd be very well off to do the job and do it effectively and efficiently and safely for that matter. So, but yeah, I would definitely open my checkbook to purchase it. So. And like I said, if we purchase this and say we don't use that snow bucket or say we don't use that snow pusher that we currently have for the skid loader, I'm all for trading it off. And it's similar to what we did with the tool cat when we purchased the tool cat. We traded off a John Deere tractor that rarely got used and got a, and the Kubota and kind of combined it into the one machine to make it more effective and efficiently for us, and so equipment just doesn't sit around all year doing, only getting used a few times when there's definitely money there. It's an expense. I mean, it's if we can use it, if we can use a piece of equipment more effectively, do it with something else, that's definitely what we need to do. So. That was a good one, Larry. I like that.
Thank you.
So you think that this would you wouldn't even need another person
I'd
for
say,
Public Works, because by having all the right equipment, this would kind of round it out, like you said in one of the slides.
this kind of brings it full circle. This is kind of, I know it, I wish they weren't such a hefty price tag. I get it. But I mean, it's just what this piece of equipment can do until you see it. It's truly remarkable how much work you can get done with it in the amount of time it takes. So,
Icing on your cake.
yeah, kind of the cherry on top of everything. So,
But the next time we see this, will the also be included? Like, will we still need a snow removal contract with Widmer or not?
no,
Oh,
nope.
Okay.
And yeah, if things would have,
That contract ends this,
yep, this will be the final year.
Okay.
After having this, too many things kind of happened last fall where we weren't able to make it work for this year. But no, next year for sure is full game. So
Well, I think it would also be interesting to compare like this year's model of loader based, if you could get the estimate of what next year's model is, because like you're aware that everything is going up in price.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what they say, you know, I mean, the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. So even just the
Yeah.
prices of vehicles and everything, it's just crazy.
It'll be interesting to see what the next with all the numbers and everything, but
Yeah, and can
You
you
get stuff.
make sure you bring what we paid Widmer's last, like what we've paid them the last like 5 years for snow removal to kind of get an idea?
Yeah,
So we
yep.
can know that's how we made the decision with the truck.
Right. Yep.
That's also an added thing. And then how many, because didn't Widmer's use 3 machines or 2? Clear.
Currently, Woodmer uses 2 payloaders and just a skid loader to remove all the snow off of Highway 25.
That's so hard too, because snowfalls change from year to year. There's
No, I do. That's why you look at 5 years.
Right.
Yep. And so, no, I can bring forward the cost and then even the cost of what we spent this year on snow removal. But I can bring those, but I do want to stress that this won't be just for snow removal.
Right.
So, no,
We
it,
can bring more on the grant money from Carver County and what we also get from, New Germany too for.
right.
Yeah, I just like to see the whole picture, so I understand
yeah.
that snow
Yep.
removal isn't just, it's not just snow removal, but it's a part of the pie
Yep.
that all needs to be understood, that we're not gonna have that contract
Right.
next year. Now, this year was a lighter snow year,
Right.
Even
though we still spent money, a decent amount of money on snow removal. So.
right.
But
yeah,
no,
I think this year's contract, the 2021, we got about 40,000 invested in snow removal by contract.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I thought it was more around 18,000, but I don't have last year's numbers.
Well,
In front of me,
December
but-
we paid 2020, we paid 18,400 something, and then we've had a few small ones. This month there's a bill for $6,000.
Yep.
2160.
I think we just
back
got a
in-
bill
yeah,
for
like
another
6,000. So it's kind of snuck up, and I
Yep.
kind of think we're going to get a pretty hefty one pretty soon, because that goofy snow we got a couple inches like 3 days in a row or something, or
Right.
Oh, but we plowed that.
Yeah, we did plow that the other day. Took us 2.5 hours, so pretty proud of that. But- All right, cool. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
no, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
information.
All right, well then, I'll call this meeting adjourned.
To adjourn.
You guys move?
What?
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, you don't have to, it's a work session, right?
Oh,
Just say
I
we're
thought,
adjourned.
yeah, I got confused.
I got this.
Sorry.
I can do it.
Nikki McNeely for mayor?
No.
You're pretty good, Nikki. You did a good job.
I practiced on my walk.
Are we still live?
Probably. That's okay. People need to know that I've never done that before. That's the first time.
I was wondering who was gonna run the show tonight.
Should let Chad do it.
No.
I figured I've been listening to it for 6.5 years or whatever I'm at. Should probably figure it out.
Good Lord, this thing's been going off like crazy.
We shut these off, Maggie? Microphones?
I shut mine off.
Nope.
It's kind of fun sitting.